Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, October 2nd. I'm Jimmy Prince for the details. There are now about 1,000 reported cases of the chikungunya disease in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Co-chair of the National Surveillance Committee, Feroz Arouch, however, pointed out that the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment believes that this latest figure may not be a true reflection of the actual situation in the country.
Everybody who has chikungunya report to the health facility. We believe that the magnitude is greater, but persons are not reporting. So I would love to appeal to the public. If you're coming down with chikungunya, please visit the health facility because we want to know the magnitude of the epidemic. It will help us in planning.
All right, and remind us of some of the symptoms again.
You can have fever, joint pain, rash, headaches. Those are some of the symptoms.
Roach says with the chikungunya disease now widespread in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it is extremely important that all Vincentians are reminded of the role they play in controlling the disease.
I would just like to appeal to the general public that they are responsible also to help us fight against this chikungunya disease. You can do it at an individual level and at a community level. That is, you can help us to take care of your environment because we cannot do it alone. It has to take a collaborative effort for us to win this fight against chikungunya.
Meanwhile, with the first case of the deadly Ebola disease diagnosed on U.S. soil, the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment is increasing surveillance at the various ports of entry here. Speaking to SVG-TV News today, co-chair of the National Surveillance Committee, Feroz Arouch, says the ministry continues to monitor developments on the Ebola situation internationally and that from now on, everyone entering this country will be screened.
That should mean that we'll have to expand our surveillance to include persons coming in not only from West Africa, but from other countries. We're going to have a surveillance meeting tomorrow, and we're going to further discuss measures that we're going to put in place.
Ebola is an infectious and generally fatal disease marked by fever and severe internal bleeding. It is spread through contact with infected body fluids by a filovirus whose normal host species is unknown. The death toll in the world's worst ever Ebola epidemic has now soared past 3,300. That's according to World Health Organization figures released on Wednesday. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves is said to be making great progress since he left for Cuba almost 2 weeks now for medical treatment for muscle injury. Communications consultant to the government, Elson Crick, on radio this morning provided a brief update on the Prime Minister's health, explaining that his treatment has been going well and that the Prime Minister has lost some weight in the process.
He is in good spirits, he's losing some weight, they're taking a serious look at his diet, and the muscle tear which occurred is being treated, is coming along slowly because these injuries take a time, and even if he was younger, it will still take some time. But you know, he's in his 60s, so you know, muscles are a little different at that age.
Prime Minister Gonsalves left the state on September 23rd for Cuba after falling ill a few days prior. Dr. Gonsalves was accompanied by his wife Eloise, one of his doctors and 2 of his security personnel. Family farming has been pushed to the fore as the world prepares to commemorate World Food Day under the theme Family Farming Feeding the World, Caring for the Earth. At a press conference today, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Raymond Ryan, says the theme focuses the nation's attention on the significant role of family farming in eradicating hunger and poverty, while providing food and nutrition security. It also focuses on improving livelihood, managing natural resources, and achieving sustainable development, in particular in rural communities.
For this year's celebrations, FAO has defined family farming as a means of organizing agricultural, forestry, fisheries, pastoral, and aquaculture production, which is managed and operated by a family and predominantly reliant on family labor, including both men and women. So there is no gender bias in this definition.
Marion says the family and the farm are linked through combined economic, social, and the cultural functions.
It is important for us to know that there are over 570 million farms in the world today. And more than 500 million of those farms are owned by families. Family farms represent the vast majority of farms in the world, but share less or the least of the world's farmland, which means that they are generally smaller than non-family farms. Most of the world's farms are very small, or family farms are very small, and worldwide, more than 475 farms are less than 2 hectares in size, and more 410 farms are less than 1 hectare in size.
In related news, a committee has been established to coordinate the program for the World Food Day Celebrations 2014. Ryan says the committee comprises representatives from several agencies and organizations throughout this country.
And we have to recognize that the development of agriculture is a national issue, not necessarily an issue for the Ministry of Agriculture alone. The main objectives in commemorating World Food Day 2014 are generally in keeping with the FAO's objectives. And these are: 1, to encourage attention to agricultural food production and to stimulate national efforts to this end; to encourage economic and technical cooperation among agencies and production groups; to encourage the participation of rural people, particularly the least privileged, in decisions and activities influencing their living conditions; to heighten public awareness of the importance of food security to a developing Vincentian society.
According to the Permanent Secretary, despite the many challenges of the ongoing external shocks and encumbrances imposed by the global economic crisis, the Ministry of Agriculture has embarked on a number of initiatives to facilitate the diversification of this sector.
The establishment of a Zero Hunger program in collaboration with FAO. 2, the establishment of a revolving credit facility for farmers administered by a farmer support company. 3, the establishment of a fleet expansion program, which is a revolving facility which targets the development of the longline fleet. The establishment of a cocoa, condiments and spices industry. The rehabilitation of the banana industry through the effective control of black cicotoca and moko and the provision of planting material.
The construction of a deepwater port here 50 years ago has brought a sense of economic survival to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That's according to Chairman of the SVG Port Authority, Edwin Snagg, speaking at the launch of activities to mark the 50th anniversary of this country's deepwater pier earlier today. Snagg urged Vincentians to imagine not having the pier, noting that it has brought significant gains to the country.
Sometimes things are really a question of vision. And not everybody see the vision at the same time. We commend those who saw the vision during the period of the Federation that deep water piers be established in these islands. But not everybody saw the vision at that time. Some thought that it was money not well spent. That vision is a vision that we saw emerge from one stage to another, when we had boats like Flanders and others carrying ram goat, So call them the ramboat boat. But it was trade. It was economic survival for our farmers in particular. It still goes on. Only thing, we don't see goat hunting anymore.
According to Snagg, the Port Authority plays a significant part of what takes place in the Vincentian Society and ought to be celebrated.
And when we look at it from the perspective of the port, we hemorrhaging at that point. In fact, the port lose significant money in that particular area, but one has to look at it in the broader context in terms of what it does for the society and the country relative to that particular inter-island trade. And so, when you talk about the ramboat boat, in which it had goat and sheep in front and man behind, because those were the days when people moved from the various countries and went to seek their fortunes, and some go to Trinidad, some go to, that was the issue. And the pair provided also those who left and those who went to England.
Meanwhile, the Port Authority has taken steps to ensure that its staff are well trained to carry out their jobs efficiently and effectively. Chairman of the Port Authority, Edwin Snagg, says they have been partnering with the Adult and Continuing Education Division for a special literacy program for the Port Authority staff.
You have a responsibility as an entity to have your employees as literate as possible. Even though they come with a certain level of illiteracy, you have a responsibility. We have a responsibility, and I'm saying we, because I as chairman, are responsible. And and it is important in this time with the way things have changed, because I don't want you to read what is on a piece of cargo and put it upside down when it's supposed to be the other way around. What about the sign on it that says poisonous? You expect that you want them to be able to read that? Or hazardous? You want to put it somewhere where it has plenty heat, and what about if it's explosive? But I'm just saying this because, and all of this ties in and keeping with the education revolution, in that as a statutory body you have to be part and parcel of the overall policy of the government.
Marion House is celebrating 25 years of meaningful service to the Vincentian public with a month of activities. The institution, which is the brainchild of Monsignor Michael Stewart of the Catholic Church, was established in 1989 out of the need for psychosocial counseling of children, mainly between the age group 15 to 19. Today, the Marion House continues to offer free counseling to Vincentian youth throughout their youth assistance, that should be through their youth assistance program, the Young Parent Empowerment Program, and the Substance Abuse Program. At a media conference today, the success and work of the institution were highlighted. Volunteer Director Jeanie Ollivierre said that their biggest achievement is the Youth Assistance Program, which targets mainly rural unemployed youths living below the poverty line. Ollivierre said the satellite program in Georgetown is an extension of the Youth Assistance Program, and it has been going well thus far.
We want to provide care, we want to provide training, and we want to do this so that we will be guiding the youths on a road, on a path to them becoming a whole person and contributing to the Vincentian society.
Meanwhile, Nicole Sylvester says that the Marion House has been making a great contribution to the legal system in this country.
Legal standpoint, I have found, and I know that other members of the bar, we have also found that Marion House's service is very, very effective and helpful in matters that we present to the court, in particular in the areas of family law, criminal law. And we have utilized the service, and it's a service that the courts have relied on quite significantly. And I was heartened when Father Mike referred to the fact that donations are made, because certainly clients, we ask them to make a contribution to Marion House for the service that they provide. And in many instances, our clients started off with certain issues, and many of them have made significant improvement as a result of the work done by Marion House and the counseling they received. In relation as well to sentencing, the judges have also relied quite heavily on reports coming from Marion House in terms of not only from the perspective of the accused person, but also the impact that it has had on the victim. So there's a balanced approach that Marion House provides, so that it is a service that is really utilized significantly by members of the legal profession and by the courts.
Sylvester also called on all organizations to consider making a contribution to the institution, stating that their programs cannot continue to provide service to the public without their contribution, since their services are free of charge. The Marion House has approximately 80 clients every week and provides its service to the prisons on a weekly basis. The month-long Silver Jubilee anniversary celebrations will continue tomorrow with community visits and the distribution of pamphlets. Now, since 1985, Nzimbu Brown has been recycling dried banana leaves to recreate the history and everyday lives of Vincentians. In this special report by Jamisha Wright, we hear how Brown went about developing and maintaining what he describes as his survival kit.
While Nzimbu Brown is most known around the Kingston for his banana art craft, Brown is also very much involved in the business of making djembe drums and cold water tie-dyeing.
Good afternoon.
Hello, my friend.
Good evening. How are you doing?
All right.
Thanks for having us today.
Let me just get a seat for you to see.
Thank you.
Earlier this week, SVG-TV News visited Brown's home and workroom, and he was at the time busy crafting a drum.
This lace that I do in here is called a Mali weave. It's an African tradition, so I learned it from what Africa share with the world, and I'm now using it to lace up my drum so that I will get a good quality sound on the djembe drum that is made from the coconut palm or coconut tree. Banana art craft, what I do is I learned it from someone named Bandy Payne, but they call him Ras Bandy, and he was doing that over a period of time. Right now he world class in Ethiopia. So after 1985 I started to do it because I realized that it can be profitable and it's something that I can use to survive. But the idea is to use natural material and to express what I like to say, the life of St. Vincent the Grenadines, so that when people come to St. Vincent, they can know about our history, our heritage, our culture, our tradition, basically the way of life. Now the drums, now I make the drums, learning the djembe technique, and I make the drums to play, you know, for groups and individuals and whatever. So the drums usually play, I have to learn the playing technique to play the drums also, and I learn how to lace the drum up in order to get a specific effect when you put the skin on. And number 3, I into cold water tie-dyeing, meaning I can dye your bed sheet, your curtains, your pillowcases or throw pillow, anything, but it definitely have to be 100% cotton in order to look good, so that the dye will take it.
I have 2 questions for you. Of the 3 things that you do, the banana art craft, the making of the drums, and also the tie-dyeing, which you enjoy doing most? And secondly, which would you say is most profitable to you?
Most definitely using the waste, throw away, dirty material. Sometimes in the market, I go down and take it up. Taking that, washing it off, add some of my creative intellect, and coming up with ideas and forms and beauties that would reflect the life of this land, Urumi, St. Vincent the Grenadines. I feel really proud to do that and to tell you all who, what, where, how, and the beauty of St. Vincent the Grenadines, and I think that is the most fulfilling and so far the most profitable.
Brown, who has been into banana art craft for almost 30 years now, was extremely excited to take our new screw into his workroom, which he says he spends most of his time.
This is like in the foreground, you will see like the sea as in the background of this.
Yeah.
So
that's excellent.
Yeah.
Alright, and all these what we say behind us are raw materials.
Right, but not just raw material. Raw material meaning I have to go out with my color scheme in the head.
So you know what you're going to look for in town?
I know, right. So when I design this, for instance, when I design this, I have to go out now and look for the material that I will get this. But it have to be the best color, best shade, best type, best quality. That means it's not necessarily in a banana plantation. And it's really the banana family. Fig, green leaf, maffabe, plantain, banana.
Reporting for SVG-TV News, I am Jamisha Wright.